Welcome to another Transformers Prime review. This time we're looking at the Voyager class first edition Optimus Prime at last. This is one I've been dying to get my hands on, and due to the cancellation of the figure to be released in the United States, I had to import him. I got the Canadian version. See, it has the bilingual writing here in the front. I got two of them, one to display. I got the review one right here, one to keep in a box just because this figure looks amazing. This packaging has some, it says Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime. There you see him in the robot mode right there. Really cool picture of him holding the sword. Product shots on the back. Bulkhead. Expecting a couple of him also. And another really cool picture on him on this side. Raised Autobot logo on the top, and just some junk on the bottom. Comes with a display box, but I actually like those better that came with deluxes just because they're bigger. This one's a little bit smaller, which is seems like it's kind of backwards. But yeah, really love this figure. So that's enough of looking at him in the box. Let's check out the figure himself. So here we have Optimus in vehicle mode, and it's basically a blown up version of the deluxe class figure. It has a very similar transformation. I don't own the deluxe class figure just because I don't care for the figure the way it looks in deluxe, in robot form. But this one fixes all those problems, even though it does have a very similar transformation. It just executed so much better, and it just looks good overall. Although I do have to say the vehicle mode is surprisingly bland for me because I just never cared for the way it looked. It just looks kind of boring. But I had to disagree with a lot of people. I don't think that the small windows look bad. I actually think it looks good for it because with smaller windows it kind of makes it look like the appearance of being a bigger truck because bigger trucks have smaller windows, I seem to find. And has some nice detailing. You see a bunch of rivets here on the side. Well, actually, let me zoom in so you can actually see. Has some rivets, some metal detail in there. The rims are painted black. I would have preferred if they were painted silver, but it's not a big deal. And just like most people, I do have some trouble getting the roof to shut all the way, but it's not a huge problem. And you do see a little bit of paneling separation there. You do have the Autobot symbol on the front, which looks really cool. Blue headlights. I do like that the windshield thing is darker gray plastic, kind of a gunmetal instead of this plastic. Just looks better that way. And you can store the weapons in the back, have the plasma rifle and the sword stored in the back. It's not the greatest thing, but I mean, hey, it's there. So you can't complain about something that you really don't have to use. It doesn't hurt the figure in any way. And it does have a trailer hitch right here, fifth wheel if you want to call it that. Although with the figure's cancellation in the US, I highly doubt there will be any sort of accessory for a trailer. But there may be a third-party one on the way. Now, I said I said that I'm kind of against third-party products now. But if they did make a trailer for this, that would be one I would go along with because that would just really look awesome on this scale and just complete the look of a Prime, Optimus Prime. So, yeah, that's about it for vehicle mode. It rolls really well, especially on this glass table. The smokestacks are rubber. But I know, and the sword is rubber too, but I'll get more into that later. It doesn't hurt it. I don't know why they couldn't have gone with full plastic because it's not like it sticks out a whole lot over the roof of the truck. So I find that kind of odd, but they stay surprisingly straight. It's not a horrible thing, but it's probably probably one of the worst things about this figure. And one thing you probably won't be able to see, I doubt it, but I'll show you during the transformation, there is actually a molded in steering wheel in the driver's seat, which is really cool. I'm really surprised that they added that detail, and I'll show you that during the transformation as well. Overall, it's not really a design flaw. It's just, I mean, as far as the toy goes, I mean, it's surprisingly accurate to the on-screen model. I just find the vehicle mode overall bland, but that's not really the toy's fault. It's very good truck mode. I just wasn't a huge fan of the truck mode in the design of the show as well. So I wish, and I would kind of wish they could have covered this a lot better, but it's not horrible at all. So let's go on to the transformation. Now, as I previously stated, I do not own the deluxe class version of this toy, nor do I really intend to do so, because like I said, I hate the figure, the way it looks in robot mode. It looks really goofy. But I have seen a couple reviews of it, and it does have a very similar transformation, but it does tweak it up a little bit. Transform the legs. All I'm going to do is pull this piece back and go to the back here. Let me pan up a little bit more. I'm going to bring the legs down like this. Oh, before I actually do that, I'm going to need to flip up the trailer hitch and separate the legs. Fold in the trailer hitch and attach the shins. This one attaches no problem, but like a lot of people, I have a lot of trouble getting this one to stay. But I sometimes find if I press in really hard and slowly let go, you know, see, sometimes they'll stay attached, but in this case it doesn't. But I do plan on getting some like clear nail polish to coat over this to thicken the connection, so that way it'll be able to stay perfect. I learned that from some other person's review of Masterpiece Rodimus, who did that to several connections. Works wonders. So, and just fold out the feet, and the feet are done. Next part, I'm going to separate this piece from the side and flip up the head, and here is where said you can see the steering wheel in there. Really cool. There's also some other molding detail as well. And then I'm gonna fold these pieces up. Actually, that's gonna make it kind of tight there. I'm gonna just leave it up like this for now. Actually, you know what? I apologize. I'm going to need to do that because I'm going to leave it like this for now. I'm kind of thinking too far ahead here, because then I'm going to need to separate the grill, which is this part here. Before I forget, this part's really tricky. It took me a few minutes to figure this out, that because I was wondering, like, how is this supposed to collide? This hinge actually goes over this part of the shoulder piece. It kept on making me think that I was going to break it, but it's not the case. It's definitely a little bit tricky and kind of awkward at the first time, but works pretty well. Separate the grill, rotate this piece up, and this needs to get out of the way, and come on, there you go. Fold them up, compact this very nicely, and this will connect up. Let's see, gonna need to bring down the hood like so. Go ahead and separate the arms, straighten out the arm, and fold out the hand. And this piece of the hood will kind of, it's definitely a little finicky because there's so many hinges going on here. Just need to, there we go. It's on a double hinge here. Need to bring that over and it'll connect to the arm. And do the same thing for this side. Like so. Now, this is a part of the figure that a lot of people seem to have a problem with. I personally don't have a problem with it because it is kind of cheating, but not really to me, because there's still the windshield of the truck is still there. It's just covering it up. It's a trick that the deluxe class version did and the Dark of the Moon Voyager class Optimus did, where they had a new windshield going over an existing one, which I don't mind. It's still there, and plus it makes it more accurate looking, and which is all good to me. And this will butterfly open, and this peg here will connect into the wheel, and do the same thing for this side. Then I can rotate the waist around, bring the arms down, straighten them up, and there you have it. There's Optimus Prime in robot mode. All I can say about this figure after looking at him in robot mode is this is amazing. This is the definitive version of Optimus Prime from Transformers Prime. The detail on this guy is superb. And yeah, it gets everything right that I hated about the deluxe class version, and especially with the Powerizer version. But first, let's take a look at the articulation. The head is on a ball joint, but because of the bulkiness of the neck, which I really do like, it has some very nice detailing there, which kind of like has some axle, or not axles, but whatever, just some mechanical stuff to give him more detail. Because of that, he doesn't get a whole lot of up and down movement, but it does go all the way around. His shoulders spin 360. He has another little hinge here that allows his arm to go to the side. Elbow swivel, as well as pretty stiff joint there. No real wrist articulation. It does kind of go inward if this arm panel wasn't there. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. It's just real stiff, but his wrist does articulate. Technically, there is a waist joint, but due to the very awkward placement of the joint itself, if you move it a little bit, it just looks like he's broken, kind of. Like, it just looks like he's been sliced in half and he's slowly falling off of his body. So I really just recommend just keeping it like that. Does have a joint in his hip that allows side to side and frontward motion. His knees can spin all the way around and get about 90-degree bend in the legs, and a little bit of foot movement, front and back, no side to side. So articulation, he's pretty standard, not disappointing really, although the waist is a little bit odd. For a Voyager class figure, it is kind of silly to have and not be so awkward looking, but it's actually been kind of common with the Prime figures so far. Now, what I really love about this figure is many things. I really do dig the head sculpt. It is missing a few silver applications, especially on the antennas on the side. But I do love the silver paint that's done on his forehead crest. That looks really nice around the eyes. Like I said, the detailing around his neck is also really well done. The chest is something that was done really well. The whole torso is one of my favorite parts about the figure. I really like how they molded in the sun visor, and with the side view mirrors on there. It's really nicely done. And what I didn't like about the deluxe class version is that it just looked real square. While this one, as in the show, it gets real bulky in his chest and goes to a very thin waistline, which gives him a very kind of brick shithouse look to him. He looks like a fucking fighting machine. Especially with his broad shoulders, it's real bulky chest, and it goes really tight into his waistline. That's done really well. He does have an Autobot logo on his one shoulder here. I do believe it's actually up on this part of his shoulder in the shell, but not a big deal. However, I do kind of wish that they had it on both sides. Legs are fairly standard. This part really does kind of annoy me. But like I said, during the transformation, I am going to get some clear nail polish to thicken that joint up a little bit, just so it can stay. It doesn't really prevent it from standing because this foot joint is pretty thick and steady, but it is kind of distracting. Now, he is about average Voyager class figure, but one of the biggest comparisons is with him and the RID Voyager Megatron, which more or less they are the same size. I would have preferred it if Megatron was just a wee bit bigger than Optimus, just to keep the proportions right for the show. But even from this angle, they're not too bad. But if you get in a little bit closer, and if I move his arm out of the way, you can actually see that Optimus is just a wee bit taller than Megatron. It's not super noticeable. They still look really great together. But I'm I'm very OCD about scale for figures. I know a Transformer is not really the best to be really obsessive about scale, but it does kind of bug me that Optimus is a little bit bigger Megatron. They still look really great together nonetheless, but just could have been a little bit bigger. I think if they didn't make this freaking cannon so huge, they could have incorporated that into his overall design, but that's neither here nor there. So he does come with a couple weapons. Before I forget, I almost forgot about them. It comes with his gun, which is a very, very sparkly type of black plastic. I'm not sure why they put this kind of sparkle into him. It does look a little bit weird. And there's a piece of hair stuck onto him. And it can peg into any hand. And this pulls off the look a lot better than the Deluxe, and especially a lot better than the new RID version, where it does look like his hand has actually transformed into the gun. It looks really good. You do see his hand a little bit from the inside, but it's not bad at all. And you do get his sword, which is rubber. It's not too bad. I was lucky enough to actually, it's pretty straight, but even if it is a little bit crooked, all you'd really have to do is like get a blow dryer or something, heat it up a little bit, hold it straight, it'll be fine. I've done that for several other things before. And the handle is soft as well, so it is a little bit awkward trying to fit into his hand because sometimes it just won't cooperate. And it pulls off that look pretty well too, that his hand transformed into a gun. However, a major design flaw: the blade's upside down. I mean, I don't know why they did that. You can have him hold it like this, which I'm having a lot of difficulty trying to accomplish that. So the blade's actually facing the right way, but it also kind of destroys the illusion a little bit that his hand actually transformed into the gun. But it's still a pretty good accessory. I don't mind it. I may even be able to deal with him holding it upside down. But overall, it's really silly how they did that. Overall, I really love this figure. One reason why I really do love this figure so much is just because the characterization of Optimus Prime in the show, it feels like an exact update of the Generation 1 Optimus Prime, from his personality to his look. It just feels like a modern G1 Optimus Prime, and especially in the show, his personality, his tone. It doesn't sound like just a complete murderous psychopath like he does in the film. He has really good, compassionate side to him. And that's why I love this figure so much, especially with Peter Cullen voicing him. It feels, it sounds, it looks like a modern G1 Optimus Prime. And especially with the mass release RID Powerizer Optimus Prime, I may get that figure, but I'm just really glad I got this one, because this one will be my definitive Optimus Prime from Transformers Prime. I've said Prime a hell of a lot of times in this review. But I digress. And unfortunately, with the cancellation of the rest of the first edition figures in the United States, the day it was announced it was canceled, prices on this figure in the aftermarket went through the roof. It would be very difficult unless you're in Canada or the Philippines. If you're a younger guy and want to get a hold of this figure, it may be very difficult. But I would really recommend anyone, if you're a fan of fun transformations, get it. If you're a fan of really accurate vehicle modes, get it. If you're a fan of G1, modern, and anything in between as far as Transformers wise, get it. If you love Optimus Prime, get it. This is a perfect figure, and I think it really ranks among probably the top 2 or 3 best Optimus Prime figures to ever be released. So if you have the means to get it, trade, buy, steal. I'm not condoning stealing, but you know what I mean. Get it. And I do not really think that the Powerizer one, the new Voyager class, would be a worthy substitute for this landmark of a Optimus Prime figure. Is awesome. I can't recommend it anymore. He's just, in my eyes, one of the definitive Optimus Prime figures to have ever come out. Can't recommend him anymore. Until next time, thank you for watching.